So the title of the paper is Demon Figures in the Numismatic Art of South and Southeast Asia. Now, for this, as I did last time, I'll quickly tell you something of how this study is going on. It's based on numismatic art, which is a totally new discipline. It's if numismatics is a sub-discipline of archaeology, numismatic art is a sub-discipline of numismatics itself. And if numismatics itself is not studied in great detail and depth by a large number of scholars, numismatic art is hardly known. Now, what is the science of numismatic art? It's basically, it involves the study of devices or figures, patterns, designs, figures on coins with reference to plasticity, sense of proportion, illusion of depth. The same, almost to an extent, the same criteria which you would do to study sculptures or paintings. Study of countermarks on coins. Countermarks are those designs or figures put on a coin after the coin was minted, which means not by the original king. It's like someone adding a color to an old painting or an original painting, a second artist doing some intervention work, which is there in coins also for various reasons. Study of the significance, historical, social, religious, and others of the devices and countermarks. If a king puts a particular symbol or a particular deity, we can analyze why he does so. Either because he conquered a new territory, he put the royal emblem of the conquered ruler, or he put his favorite deity, which shows his religious affiliation. So from the devices on coins, a lot can be studied on art history, religious history, and general history, as we do it from bigger stone sculptures, metal sculptures, and paintings. Then, taking this forward, study of the minting techniques. There are basically three major types of minting techniques, as we all know: the punch marking, the oldest, and what today we say the most primitive or fundamental. Then it's casting, and finally die striking. And today all coins are die struck and machine made. But till the 17th, 18th century, the majority of the coins were made, or rather all coins were handmade, and that made it more difficult to make them perfect, like a handmade sculpture or painting, but still they did it. Many of the handmade coins are far more symmetrical and with better designs than machine-made coins. Then we had both handmade and machine-made in the 17th, 18th century. The same coin of certain kingdoms of South India were both handmade and machine-made. It was going on concurrently, the transition period. Today, all over the world, all coins are machine-made. And studying of these minting techniques and the purity of the metal used, it does have an impact on the stylistic features of the figures and on the general artistic merit of the coins. In handmade coins, to give you an example, if the die cutter or the coin maker is not very attentive or not very careful, a part of the device or figure, whether it's a human figure or an elephant or whatever, a part of it, the tail may go out of the flank, the tail may be missing. Coin is a small canvas or a small object, so every millimeter counts, not every inch, but it's just a few millimeters of space. And a small deviation, a small mistake can make a part of the inscription or the figure go out of the flank, and nothing can be done to correct it unless you melt the coin and redo the whole process. And then finally, tracing links between devices on coins and those on other art mediums. If during a particular period or dynasty or king, the king made coins with certain figures, his favorite deities or favorite designs or patterns. We can compare, we have got one-to-one comparison. The same devices, deities, figures, patterns, designs would have been also repeated on stone sculptures, metal sculptures, textiles, paintings, and so on. And finally, references to the figures on coins in literature and inscriptions, and which we do come across now and then, not only in ancient Sanskrit and Tamil literature, but even in later day Hindi and Kannada and other vernacular literature also. So this, in short, is what a person who claims to specialize in numismatic art does. General numismatics is studying coins, the metal, its economic value, who issued what coin, and what figures they put. But then numismatic art goes specialized, and a numismatic art person needs to be both the art historian and also a numismatist, knowing about coin minting techniques and so on. Now, this numismatic art studies first started in the 19th century and early 20th century in Europe. It mainly focused on ancient Greek and Roman coins, medieval European coins, and later coins. And in India, it was very rare. And coming to Indian numismatic studies, there have been very few. B.N. Mukherjee could be called a pioneer in Indian numismatic studies. His area of specialization was northern India, Indo-Greek coins, Kushan coins, and Gupta coins. And he was my mentor in the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts. We had a big project on numismatic art of India, collection of materials, and it has been published like a directory of or an encyclopedia of Indian numismatic art in multiple volumes with high quality photographs. And that included some studies on the South Indian numismatic art, which job I was assigned to by Mukherjee himself. And now there's a map of South India with some of the sites mentioned in this paper. I'll quickly run through this because many of you would be familiar with the sites. To give you a few examples before I go to the subject proper, the earliest coins done with punch marking technique. Although it has some artistic value, there were issues. Often the figures were not done in any particular sequence or order. Parts of the figures went out of the flag or out of the coin canvas itself. Another punchmark coin, a Satavahana coin. Satavahana coins are slightly more developed. They began issuing coins in all the three techniques: punch marking, die striking, and casting, but much of it is die struck or cast. And this Satavahana coin, elephant was a common motif, and tree in railing on the reverse. This more beautiful Satavahana coin, elephant, with the inscription above the elephant. The legend is adjusted to the contours of the body of the elephant, and the Ujjain symbol, the famous Ujjain symbol, which is found on the reverse of the majority of Satavahana coins. Satavahana minted thousands and thousands of coins with a wide variety of figures and images in a wide variety of metals except gold. They had silver, copper, portin, bronze, and so on. And then, of course, the Satavahana portrait coins, which are rare, which we believe are inspired by Roman portrait coins. Kushan coins, this is one of Kanishka, a famous one. And the same coin, Kanishka on the obverse and Buddha on the reverse, with the legend Buddha on the reverse. And headless statue of Kanishka from Mathura Museum, and that was the basis for identifying this figure on the coin as Kanishka. And this is a Gupta coin of Kumaragupta, in which the queen and the minister tried to dissuade the king from renouncing the world, from renouncing the throne and turning otherworldly. They request him to hold on to the throne. And a more famous, more beautiful artistic coin of the same ruler, the king slaying the lion with what, to quote Professor Mukherjee, with rippling muscles. The coin maker has been very imaginative in this particular case. In such a small canvas, he has been able to show a dramatic, violent hunting scene of a king hunting a lion. A Pallava coin, one side bull, one side wheel, beautifully done. And often scholars say it shows a syncretistic religious movement. Shiva on the obverse, represented by the Nandi or the bull, and wheel, the most common device or object held by Vishnu on the reverse. And we have to come, what I told you, we do comparison with stone art, the bull of the Pallava times in Mahabalipuram. Coming to Vijayanagar times, Krishna Devaraya's famous Venkateshwara type coin on the obverse, commemorating his attachment to the Tirupati temple, Sri Pratapa Krishna Raya on the reverse legend. His more famous Balakrishna type coin, which had shown earlier also. Balakrishna type coin, we have analyzed, there are more than 40 sub varieties of it. Sometimes the Krishna right hand is on the floor, sometimes the left hand of the god child, sometimes he's having a peacock feather on his head, sometimes it's without the peacock feather. So art historians have identified over 40 sub varieties of the Balakrishna type coins of Krishna Deva Raya. Again, the same legend, Sri Pratapa Krishna Raya in Nagari script on the reverse. And another coin of Garuda of the same ruler. They were all very much attached to Vishnu, as you know. So, lot of Vishnu related devices. And a Ganesha coin of the Tanjavur Maratha kings, late 17th, 18th century. Now we come to the subject proper. Now, demons on coins are very few. I've shown you a good, I would say, within the very limited time, quite a good variety of coins from the Panchma to the 18th century of different gods, goddesses, and other religious devices. But as you would see, and we have checked up, demons are very few on coins. And there are particular reasons. They are few on other mediums of art, but not that few. Otherwise, we won't be needing this conference at all. You can see them in other mediums of art, definitely. But why not in coins? There are particular reasons which we are trying to analyze. In fact, I had a discussion with the scholars in the Indira Gandhi Center for Arts who were involved with me in this original project when I discussed this paper with them. And the main reasons could be demons were known. Definitely the coin makers would have known about the demons, the kings would have known. And in the contemporary sculptures and literature of that period, we have references to the demons. So then why they chose not to put them on coins? The reason could be the demons were not considered worthy or suitable for coinage. One must know the coin, it's a very peculiar object. It's basically a utility object. It's a currency. It was meant to be a medium of exchange to enable people to buy things, to exchange one thing for the other. So basically a utility object. Art came next, but then many kings, but not all kings. In the Islamic tradition and even in the ancient Indian tradition, coins were not considered art objects. Very few coins qualify as art objects. Greek and Roman coins of the ancient period do qualify. Some of our later coins, like the Vijayanagar coins, do qualify, and more coins of northern India qualify as art objects than those of the south. Among the criteria that I listed in the beginning of this paper. So this is a technical constraint. The area, the space is small. There are other technical constraints depending on the minting technique. And therefore, sculptural art and painting art is more pervasive. It's more wider, more visible than numismatic art. But we do believe sculptural art impacted numismatic art in all periods of history. But more things could be done in sculptural art than in numismatic art. And we do believe demons and figures which were not considered ideal were not considered worthy or suitable for depiction on coins, and also because of the constraints of space and technical constraints, they had to make a intelligent choice of putting only limited figures, and naturally demons were left out. They were not considered worthy enough. And also the coins were often considered sacred. Besides the utility value, in the Indian tradition especially, coins are considered sacred, wealth, the goddess, and symbols of prosperity. And that could be one more reason why demons would not be given a place on the coins. And also, even among, there are a few coins with demons, but much of it is lost or melted. And also the one could also argue that demon coins are few originally, and even if they were issued, they were not preserved. More of it was lost or melted, because coins, even after they cease to be circulation money or currency, one king dies or a dynasty declines, that the coins of that dynasty is no longer valid as currency. The new king or dynasty takes over and issues new coins as money. But the old coins are not always melted or destroyed. They are preserved as sacred objects, especially if they have figures of deities, gods, and goddesses. Even today, in many homes in rural Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu, more in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, I've seen people preserving Vijayanagar coins, not as numismatics or not for academic value, but as puja article, because they have Lakshmi and Narayana or Brahma and Saraswati and so on. But demon coins would not qualify as religious objects, and therefore they have not been preserved as much as coins with other devices. And now coming to demon coins, we have a lot of mythological events, stories depicted on coins, even epics, Ramayana scenes, Mahabharata scenes. On the tiny coin we have, many rulers have repeatedly done. But again, they have deliberately avoided demons. That's a general observation, whether in India or even in other countries like Sri Lanka and other neighboring countries where these epics were popular throughout history, and where coins featuring scenes from these epics and other Puranic stories have been featured, but the demons have been left out. Now, coming to the most popular epic or depiction on coins is the Ramayana story. Scenes from Ramayana, the coronation of Rama, even Sita's fire ordeal, and so many other scenes from Ramayana are featured on both coins of northern India and southern India throughout history. And some kings issued a series of coins featuring different scenes from the epic, right from the beginning to the end. But even there, mind you, a very interesting observation is Ravana has been avoided. Although we may not consider him an ideal person, definitely he was very important for the epic, but still he has been avoided. Unlike in sculptures, and only two major dynasties, only to be on the safe side, because numismatics is a very vast science, it's difficult to generalize. So I have listed two of which have thorough knowledge: Nayaks of Madurai and Marathas of Tanjavur, and maybe a few other rulers which I may not be knowing. I invite suggestions or inputs from other senior scholars if they know of any coin. Only these two dynasties have issued coins with the figure of Ravana. And the Nayaks of Madurai were greatly attached to the Ramayana epic. Many sculptures featuring scenes from Ramayana are seen in their temples, and even in older temples expanded and embellished by them. And they issued a series of copper coins featuring different scenes from the Ramayana, and the entire dynasty issued it over a period of nearly 400 years. And there, fortunately, they got an idea that Ravana should not be excluded. There are a few coins with the figures of Ravana. And the Marathas, as you know, Chhatrapati Shivaji did come to Tanjavur briefly, but then most important is younger brother or half brother, Venkaji. He established the Maratha kingdom in Tanjavur after the decline of the Tanjavur Nayaks, who were helped by the Madurai Nayaks. And this transition from the Nayak rule to Maratha rule in Tanjavur started in the late 17th century, around 1676-78. And these Marathas continued in Tanjavur for nearly 150 years. 1855, the last Maratha king of Tanjavur died, and the kingdom passed on to the British as per the doctrine of lapse. And these Marathas of Tanjavur, interestingly, their coins are not widely known or published because they belong to a very late period of history. But then they did issue a wide variety of coins in different metals: gold, silver, copper, and even lead, which lead coins are known in early historical period and not after that. But the Marathas of Tanjavur even had some lead coins, and they issued a rare coin of Ravana featuring Ravana alone, not as part of the Rama or Ramayana series, but just a standalone coin of Ravana. And one specimen is now there in a private collection in Tanjavur, and it has been published in several coin catalogs. And we believe this Ravana coin of the Marathas of Tanjavur was inspired by the Ravana coins of the Nayaks of Madurai. And the Marathas of Tanjavur Ravana coin, there is only one known specimen in a private collection, as I told you. So I could not access the photograph immediately right now, but I'll try to do it for the publication or the paper. And the photographs I'm showing you are all from private collections, and they are all the Nayaks of Madurai Ravana coins. And often Ravana is not shown with 10 heads, but he's shown with multiple heads. We have to take it because of the constraints. Coin is a small canvas, and even if it's 8 heads or 9 heads or 7 heads, since it's multiple heads, we take it as Ravana. And this is true even in sculptures. Even in Mahabalipuram, Ravana Anugraha Murti, there's a rare sculpture where Ravana is shown with 4-5 heads, not 10, but it's symbolic. And this is the reverse of the same. This again, no, that's another coin, obverse of one coin of the Madurai Nayaks showing Ravana, another coin showing Ravana of the same dynasty, Srivari, the legend on the reverse of that coin. This was a common legend. And another coin of the Madurai Nayaks showing Ravana. So except Ravana, we hardly have any other demon on in the entire gamut of numismatic art of South Asia. And even Ravana is so restricted in the depiction. So that is the main takeaway or the conclusion of the paper. And as I did mention, it has been done under great pressure of time and other reasons, but I'm going to expand it, and I'm thankful to the organizers for this opportunity. And I hope the paper has been useful, giving a numismatic dimension to your scholarly discussions. Thank you.